here we are, another video. Who is excited? Raise your hand. Don't raise your hand because I can't see you. But thank you so much for clicking on this video. I have the most interesting video, if not probably the dumbest video. Not even the dumbest video, it's just a very funny story that I have to tell you guys. So it's not a makeup tutorial, it's nothing that has to do with makeup, it's just a random story time. I decided I really wanted to film story times, and I was just thinking about so many things or so many stories that I want to say. But there's this one particular story, guys. Like, this is the story. Let's get into it, yeah? Okay, well, first of all, this story is going to be about when I hired, or when I got a detective, because, are you guys ready? Because my iPod got stolen. I'm going to let that sink in, okay? My iPod. May I say that the year that I got my iPod, I believe it was 2007. I want to say 2007 or 2006. I was in 7th grade, and I had been dying to get an iPod Touch, you guys. Like, this was when the iPod Touch was so popular. Everybody wanted it, but it was really expensive, so no one really had it. But my dad made it happen for me, and he got me an iPod for Christmas. And I have it right here. So this is the iPod that my dad got me back, I want to say in 2007. I was about 12 years old. So what happened was, back in the day, I want to say I was a 7th grader, because this was in 2006 or 7. I believe it was 2007. Anyways, I got my iPod, and I would always take it to school. I was very protective of my iPod. I never let anybody get it. So what happened was, I had a little bag. It was like this big, I want to say, and I always kept my pads in there, and I always kept my iPod in there. Those are the two things I kept in there. I remember very clearly. I left those two things there all the time. And I remember one time, this was in Mr. Bressler's class, okay guys? So if anybody went to Union, you guys know who I'm talking about. So Mr. Bressler was a 6th grade teacher, I want to say. He also taught 7th grade. And I had homeroom with him. And when I was in the room, I mean, everybody would be cool with each other, but I remember that day, I left my little bag in the desk. The way that I figured out that I didn't have the little bag with me was when I was on my way home. Well, not on my way home, but I got on the bus. It was me and my sister. We got on the bus, and when we were getting on the bus, everybody would always like sit down with their buddies, whatever. If you guys rode the bus, you guys know what I'm talking about. So I sat down next to, I don't know if it was my sister or my friend, but I sat down, and I was looking for my little bag, because I wanted to listen to music. So I was looking for it, and I kept digging in my backpack, and I was like, what the, like, where is my little bag? And at this moment, guys, when the adrenaline hits in, or like when you notice that something is missing, I don't know about you, but I start getting hot flashes. My palms start getting sweaty so much. Like, oh my god, I was just going crazy. Like, oh my god, where's my little bag? Where's my little bag? Like, it's not in here. My sister was like, well, go to your class. And I was like, okay, like, I'll be right back. And the bus was literally about to take off, right, guys? My heart was beeping. The bus was about to take off, and literally, like, they were already like, I literally like got up like fast, and then I told the bus driver, was like, stop the bus. And they were like, no. And I was like, yes, stop the bus. And they were like, no, we have to go home. And I was like, no, this is an emergency. I need to go to my classroom. I left my bag in there. They were like, okay. So they stopped the bus, and everybody was like, hey, like, we want to go home and whatever. And I was like, I don't care, I'll be right back. You guys, literally, I sprint. Like, I've never ran this fast in my life. I swear, at that point in my life. Like, I ran to the classroom. Like, ran. I got to the classroom, and I went to the desk that I sat in, And I was like, oh my god, like the bag is not here, the bag is not here. And it was this little desk that just have like one thing. So I was just like, I kept going like that. Even though there was nothing in there, like I kept trying to search like if I was gonna find something deeper. I have no idea why. It was just the adrenaline. And then the teacher was like, well, maybe it's in the front office. Go to the front office, because I had a student that took it to the front office. And I was like, oh, okay. Like at this point, I was out of breath. First of all, I was sweating. I was mad. I had hot flashes. And I was telling the front desk lady, I was like, did someone bring my little bag? And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, yes, my teacher told me somebody brought a little brown bag. I usually keep my iPads in there, and I had my iPod in there. And she was like, oh yeah, mija, like I have it. And I was like, okay, can I please get it? And she gives it to me. She's like, but mija, I want to tell you, there's no iPod in there. Is she talking to me? What do you mean there's no iPod in there? That's where that's where I keep my iPod. And she was like, no. She was like, there's only pads in there. And I was like, well, who brought it to the office? And she's like, I don't know. And she's like, somebody just left it here. And I was like, don't you guys have cameras or something? And they were like, I'm sorry, but there's nothing that we can do about it. You should have never left it in there. I was like crying. I was so upset. I didn't even run to the bus. I took my time and I walked back to the bus. And they still waited for me, which was funny. They still waited. We got home and I was just giving attitude to everybody. I didn't want to speak to anybody. I was crying to my mom. Oh, calm down, calm down. Like, what do you mean someone stole it? And I was like, I left it in the classroom. She's like, like, of course you left it in the classroom. Someone's gonna steal it, you know? And I was just like, don't tell me that right now. Like, I'm not in the mood for that. Like, are you gonna help me or not? It's just like, help you with what? She's like, someone stole it. How are you gonna get it? And I was like, like, you don't understand me. I hate my life. Like, no one understands me. My sisters were just like, dude, like, calm down. Like, you can't do anything about it. And I was just like, oh my god, like, you guys, like, never want to help me and blah, blah, blah. I came into my room and I was crying, and and my dad called me, and my dad was like, hey, like, why are you giving attitude to everybody? And I was like, Dad, like, someone stole my iPod. My dad was in Venezuela. Like, he was in another country, okay, guys? Like, he was all the way out in Venezuela. He just called me to tell me to calm down. And I was like, Dad, like someone stole my iPod. Like, you know, like, I'm so mad. And he was like, well, figure it out. I'm gonna call 911. I was still crying, and I was telling them like, hey, like, someone stole my iPod at school and they don't want to give it back. Nobody wants to tell me who took it. Like, I want to sue them. Like, I really want to sue this out of them. Like, you guys need to help me. And the lady was just like, oh my goodness, calm down, tell me what happened, where do you live, what school, blah blah blah. And I was just like, da 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 da, are you gonna help me or not? And then she was like, sweetie, we're going to do everything that we can to help you get your iPod back. And I was like, thank you, whatever. And the next day, a detective shows up at my house. And he's like, hey, I'm here for Gabriela Moreno. And I was like, a little 12-year-old, I was like, yeah, that's me. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, so what happened? And I was just like, so, you know, I never leave my stuff there, and for some reason, like, I left my bag there and someone stole my iPod. And I'm pretty sure he was trying not to laugh at me, but since I was so serious about it, he didn't laugh at my face, at least. But you guys, he came through. Okay, guys, he came through, because we met up at my house, and then he said, he told me to go to my class. He said to talk to all of my classmates. I was speaking to the class, and I was like, hey. And I was still mad, guys. I was like, hey, someone in this classroom stole my iPod. I don't know who it is, but you need to confess, because if you guys don't tell me who it was, there are going to be cops going to your house, and we are going to sue you. And the whole classroom was just like, like, is this girl serious? You guys, keep in mind, these were all little 6th graders. I was a 7th grader. So they were like gonna be like a little scared because they're older classmen, you know, it's like talking to him serious. I told the classroom too, I was like, there's cops in the office right now and there's a detective there, so if no one speaks up now, you guys are gonna have consequences. And literally, like, I stands up and he was like, I was the one that took it. And I was like, okay, where is it? And he was like, at my house. And I was like, okay, well, you need to bring it to me by tomorrow morning. If not, they're going to be going to your house. And he was like, no, 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 I promise, I'll bring it tomorrow morning. And I was like, okay, we'll see. But did he bring it the next day? No. This guy didn't. I was still mad, guys. Like, you told me you were gonna bring my iPod and you didn't bring it. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm gonna sue the shit out of you and blah blah blah. And he was like still scared. So what ended up happening is that the detective that I had went to his house to find out that this little kid traded in my iPod with another kid for an Xbox. So the detective went from his house to the other kid's house that traded in with the Xbox to find out that he sold it to another person. So it literally went like on a chain, guys. So by the time that he went to the third person, he was like, look, this is not a game. He's like, I know it's an iPod, but if you don't give me the iPod, we will be suing you guys. And you will go to juvie or jail or whatever, which I don't think that was possible, but that's what the guy said, or at least that's what he made it seem like. So they so that third guy gave him the iPod, and the detective came to the school on the next day. He's like, hey, like, I just want to thank you for being patient with me throughout this process. He's like, here's your iPod. And I was like, oh, you got my iPod back? Like, all smiling. I'm not even mad at this point anymore because they got my iPod back. And he was like, yeah. He's like, so this is what happened. It's just crazy how he went to 3 people, and then after that third person, like, he got it. And like, I came home and I was like, look, everybody, I got my iPod. And this was the iPod. I still have it. No one has stole it. This is the iPod that my dad gave me Christmas. It's so little. Like, now that I look at it, it's just crazy because this is my iPhone and this is the iPod. Like, look at the difference, guys. That is crazy. I learned my lesson. I never left anything in class. Every time I went to school, I double checked that I had everything in my bag. I to my sisters about it, like, oh my god, like, can you believe that I got a detective like at 12 years old for an iPod? Like, we all laugh about it. Like, who does that? I have no idea. But yeah, I just thought I shared with you guys this story. Not a lot of people know about it, so I think it's kind of funny just to just to go back to it because it's one for the books. Just because I laugh about how angry I got that I was the only person to fault at why it got stolen. It's just funny now, and thank you to my dad for telling me to figure it out, because when he came back from Venezuela, I was like, look, Dad, I figured it out. Yes, I did. I was like, I figured it out, Dad. Like, I got my iPod, like, just like how you told me to. And he was just like, oh my god. He's like, you're crazy. And I was like, I know. I was like, but it was a lesson learned. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.